KPRC Channel 2. This is Houston Newsmakers with Cambrell Marshall.
Last week on this program, Harris County Clerk Stan Stannard said he was expecting a record turnout for early voting, but even he was surprised by the numbers this first week. The first day, early voting had almost 68,000 voters come out that first day. That's almost 20,000 more than the previous record back in 2012. The question now is, what does it mean here in Southeast Texas and the rest of the state? Let's talk about that this morning with Jay Iyer, the assistant professor at the Barbara Jordan Mickey Leland School of Public Affairs at Texas Southern University. Good to see you, Jay.
Thank you for having me.
And David Jennings, the blogger supreme, the founder of BigJollyPolitics.com. It's a website for conservative politics. Good to see you both again. What do you make of the turnout, and who benefits and who doesn't?
Well, I mean, it's an extraordinary turnout, right? Historical levels. We're on pace to probably have 1.4 million people cast their votes. If you assume the historical trends continue, bigger than we had in 12, bigger than we had in 2008. There's a whole lot of new voters in the system. Traditionally, new voters tend to I think the governing argument has always been that it favors Democrats. You get a new pool of voters in. I think that seems to be the case when you look at who's coming out. You've had record numbers of Latino registrants and Latino voters coming out, largely driven by a presidential race where both candidates are relatively disliked by the other party.
But David, a lot of Republicans came out too because of the Trump movement, did they not?
Well, I think there's no question about it. You have to consider the fact that Trump is such a polarizing figure. Regardless of how you view him, people are going to come out to vote for or against him. And so we really don't know what's going to happen with this high turnout, other than we know the clerks are going to be overworked at the offices.
Exactly.
Well, let's talk about the top of the ticket and what that may mean for local outcomes. There's probably voter fatigue out there right now after a very long and contentious race for president. By almost all accounts, it's been very nasty the whole way between Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump, with most polls showing Clinton with the best chance at this point. If we look at a possible electoral map outcome, if 270 votes needed to win the presidency, you'll notice quite a few of the states in blue for Hillary Clinton that represent states that are either solidly for her, likely for her, or leaning toward her, which tends to mean about 5-point lead in the polls. The reds for Donald Trump with the same breakdown of solid, likely, or leaning, and without including any of the toss-up states, which are gray, it looks like it would be 270 for Clinton already. It's just way too early to believe that, though, is it not?
It's way too early to believe that, as Jay will tell you. It's just way too early.
Yeah, I mean, polling is good, but it doesn't factor in turnout numbers. It's all based on models, and we don't exactly know who's going to come out and vote. We make projections based on prior elections. Now, if you look at the accuracy of the polling, by and large, it looks like a sort of a built-in structural advantage for Clinton in that she has a much easier path to 270 electoral votes. The challenge for Trump is he doesn't just have to win all the states that he's currently leading in. He has to flip states that he's down 5, 6, 7 points in the polls, which is really a difficult thing to do with 12 days to go.
David, the folks who are typically Trump supporters are much more energetic than it seems those who are
Boy, aren't they, though? A little bit louder, too.
Yeah.
I think. But if you look at the, as Jay said, a structural advantage, or you pointed out, the Democrats do have a structural advantage in the Electoral College. However, if you look at the 270 win, the map that you just put up, Pennsylvania's been pulled down as now it's a toss-up state, so that pulls Clinton away from that 270 mark. And so if Trump can actually roll the dice, there is a possibility he could win. I think 538 has him at about a 15% probability, which is it seems low to us, but that's still a very large chance.
In this whole process, obviously the folks who are at the top of the ticket generally kind of tend to generate energy for everybody down the ballot as well. What does that bode for the down ballot races here locally, maybe the state? Sure.
About a third of well, Texas uses a straight ticket process where you can vote for party. About a third of the vote straight ticket is Democrat, a third goes Republican, and the third is in this middle area where people tend to favor the candidates one way or the other based on sort of general partisan affiliation. So part of the problem for Republicans locally in Harris County is that if it's all, the question is if Clinton wins by a relatively sizable margin, i.e. more than 5 points, 6 points, it can potentially result in I think a surge or a straight ticket phenomena for all Democrats winning locally. Same would be true on the other side if Trump were to carry the county by 5 or 6 points, and that's been the historical pattern. That's why it kind of goes back and forth.
What do you sense as a lean?
Yeah, it's the same thing. Right now, the only polls we really have out there show that Clinton is leading the county by about 5 or 6, 7 points in some cases. And but the main thing is, as Jay said, the split ticket vote's going to be pretty close. And so you're looking at independents, and those independents, polling-wise, have been breaking for Clinton pretty hard.
You know, speaking of polls, and let's talk about you for a moment as well, and the DA's race. We have this is a very contentious thing. It's been and is the marquee race locally, if you will. And I know this that you, which is very unusual for someone who is a conservative as you are, you came out and you said, you know what, I'm going to vote for Kim Ogg, and that was a surprise. Why did you do that, and what's been the feedback from your fellow Republicans?
Well, the feedback hasn't been all that great, to be honest with you. However, I think it's just time for a change in philosophy, me personally. That's just my personal opinion. I think it's time for a change in philosophy. The way that Ms. Anderson took over for her husband was a little bit controversial in the party apparatus. And then, of course, with the activists, some of the decisions she's done, gelling the rape victim and the Planned Parenthood stuff, I think that all plays in. But Republicans right now at the state level and national level are really focused in on criminal justice reform. And if we really want to make that happen, then I think we have to have a change at the Harris County level, the biggest county in Texas.
Jay, final word?
Yeah, I think that race, I don't want to call it as over because we're not there, but I think Kim Ogg is going to win and probably win. She'll probably lead most vote getters in the county, at least certainly on the Democratic side. There's so much structural support and advantages for her. And to Dave's point, she has support from conservative and Republican groups that Anderson does not even have. And so, I mean, you've got this really interesting phenomena where there's unanimity on the parties to some extent that Kim Ogg should be the district attorney.
Well, we'll look and see what happens. I hope that I can invite you to come back after the elections. We'll have another discussion about this.
Yes, love that. Love that.
Absolutely.
Got you on tape. That's a good
It's a done deal.
Always good to see you guys as well.
Thanks.
David,
Thanks.
my pleasure as well.